Hi everyone, welcome back to the Casual Critics. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Obviously, there's some big political moves going on in the next couple weeks. CD Lamb signed a contract and some other fun things. So, hey mom,
Hi, I'm in
where are
California.
you? Yeah, I was going to
I'm in
say.
Coronado, and you're East Coast. I'm West Coast today, and then our podcast studios in Texas. So we're all over the map.
Yep. How is it there?
It's good, California. You gotta love it. You gotta hate it. I mean, there are great things, great things about California, and of course, I try to get here in the summertime to escape some of the Texas heat, and it's been beautiful here all week. Today it's a little gloomy. It's a little overcast and a little breezy. So I actually have on, like a little summer sweater today. But
Is
I've
that
been in.
new?
No, this is my
Crab sweater?
my O crab instead of O crap
Oh,
sweater that I had last year that I bought last year, and I left it here. So I stuck it on this morning because it was, like I said, a little cool.
all right. Well,
How's New York?
it's all right. It's a little overcast today, but it's pretty nice out past couple days. I went to the New York State Fair on Monday with some people I met in my law school program, and we saw Megan Maroney was performing, who's like
Hmm.
country singer. Um, and the weather was perfect. It was like sunny, and we went in the evening, so it was like perfect evening, nice and breezy, but like no jackets needed. It was nice.
That's good. It's going to be
Yeah.
deceiving because I think I sent you the ranking of the cities with the most snowfall in the U.S. and Syracuse came in second.
Yes, you did, and it did come in second. It did beat, I think, Lansing, Michigan, and
It beat Juneau, Alaska.
and Bozeman, Montana. So
Yeah.
that's really
Uh,
unfortunate. And the people here keep telling me that it's going to be like Seattle in a few years because of climate change, and I'm like, well, I don't think that's happening
mm,
quite yet because people keep telling
no.
me to get prepped for the snow. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, the snow is coming. Trust me.
yeah,
I think it was my first business trip to Syracuse, and I was in the embassy suites, kind of by the plant in the offices for Hoffman. And in the middle of the night, I heard this big kind of like a blam, blam, blam noise. And I was like, what is that? Is that rain? Is that wind? And then I went back to sleep, and I woke up in the morning, and when I had gone to sleep, there was no snow. When I woke up, I had had this small rent-a-car, like one of those really small cars, and it was
right.
like halfway up the door where there
Oh
was snow.
my
And I
God.
was like, that's what that little shovel in the trunk is for. They had a like an ice scraper on one side and a shovel on the other side.
Like a rental car provided shovel.
Yes. So
That's really funny.
I actually videotaped myself digging it out for Gene because he was getting a kick out of that.
Oh my God. Well, I've never lived anywhere where snow is guaranteed. So I still have like the mindset of like, ooh, it's gonna snow. Like, will it actually snow? But
Yeah.
apparently it's actually gonna snow and then I'm gonna hate it by March.
Well,
So
I was going to say March is about end of February or mid March. You're like, okay, when does it end?
well,
Yeah.
yeah, because by March I want to be on a beach. I want it to be spring break. By the
Yeah.
time I hit March, I'm done with the cold. But
Well, maybe
I'll
we'll,
be fine. I'll be
yeah.
fine like November, December, like holidays, Christmas time. That'll be perfect. I'll be happy that it's snow. But yeah, no, once it passes late February, I'm done.
Well, maybe we'll have to go, be beach bound for your spring break from law school. So we'll see if
Yeah,
you get
maybe.
like enough of a break to go somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see.
Um, so California, like I said, you gotta love it, gotta hate it. I do love the weather. I don't think I could live here year round just because the politics are really crazy here and they just do wacky things. But I'm on Coronado Island right now, which is right across from the Del Coronado Hotel, which is a famous historical place. And you've been going there for several years with us as well. We've been
Yep.
coming here for, I don't know, 12 to 14 years, I think. But Coronado's kind of a bubble. It's a little shielded from a lot of the California liberal politics and stuff. It's got a very
It's a mil
conservative.
it's a military town.
Right.
It's
And
naval
so you
base there.
yes,
Yeah.
you've got the naval base down the street, which I love too. There's a trash truck passing me, sorry. um I love to jog down to the naval base and back. Yeah, I love Coronado. It has great little shops. It has great little restaurants. I actually went shopping with Kathy, my mom, which is always a treat. We went to Fashion Valley in San Diego, and
She's
then
a
we hit.
fun shopping buddy.
She is definitely. There's like no boundaries, which gotta
What'd
love.
you guys get?
So she bought me this really cute little. Well, let me start by saying that the purpose of us going to Fashion Valley. First, we hit some shops on the island, but then we went to Fashion Valley because she wanted to exchange a pair of Chanel tennis shoes and
Why
a
would she
blouse.
buy Chanel tennis shoes? She doesn't wear tennis shoes.
Well, she actually does wear them
She
now.
only wears the on clouds, though.
I know. And that's what she was comparing them to. And so the Chanel little platform tennis shoes were way too heavy and structured for
Sure.
her.
Yeah, they're not going to be
Um,
as comfy as on clouds.
No, so she wanted to
Yeah.
take them back. So I said, okay, let's take the trip over there. We'll have lunch at True Food or North Italia, and then hit Neiman's, return your stuff, and then I always like to go to the Bloomingdale's there because they have a great buyer. But yeah, so we walked into Neiman's to take back these shoes, and the little guy disappeared for a few minutes and came back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's been 15 days, and our cutoff is 14 days." To
14 days is so short.
I know, right? And I was like,
2 weeks,
"Oh my gosh."
you can't get back to the store a lot of times within
I,
2 weeks.
I blink my eye and it's 14 days. I'm sorry. That's absolutely insane. And so of course, what proceeded was me to tell the guy how ridiculous Neiman's is since they were purchased
Right.
and that their return policy sucks. And if I were in Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's or some other store, there wouldn't be a problem. And then he started explaining, I'm sorry, it's my policy, it's our policy. I said, you know what, hon, go get your manager and we'll figure this out. And I said, I'm not trying to come down on you. I know you're just doing your job. So can you go get the manager and let me figure it out and with her or him? And he said, okay. And then he disappeared again. And then a woman came up and said she was the manager. And she said, I'm sorry, that's our policy. And I'm like, wait, aren't you the manager? Can't you override that? And she was like, no, I can't do that because it's Chanel. And anyway, it kind of progressed into, how I get.
Yes.
it it was are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. You're not a problem solver. You should be, because that's what you're getting paid for and that's what your title says, but you're not doing anything. And a customer walks in here, and like my mom is on like this rare list that spends so much money at Neiman's that they gave her like a gold-plated credit card years ago. And so they're like, yeah, I said, just look at who you're dealing with, take it into consideration and just do the right thing and just say, oh my gosh, you're only a day late. Let me go ahead and credit your account. Just be aware that it's 14 days next time.
You
And
have also always been a rules are gray. There's gray area in
there,
rules person.
absolutely.
And a lot of people aren't though. A lot of people are very black and white.
I
And
know.
I don't
I
personally
know.
get that, but yeah.
Well, so we argued about it for a while, and then she assured me it couldn't be done. Then she told me we could only exchange them for another Chanel pair
That
of
doesn't even
shoes.
make sense. It's not like it's like
Oh
a
my gosh.
independently run Chanel that's out of
No.
Neiman.
And then she tries telling me that they compete with boutique shopping. And I said, yeah, but you're not a boutique. You're a department store.
They
And then she
compete
was like,
with boutique shopping.
yeah. And then she starts lecturing me on high-end shopping. And I was
Have
like,
people
oh
like
my
that.
gosh, that's when the honey word flew out of my mouth. And I
Oh
was like, well,
Lord.
honey, let me tell you what. And she blinked her eyes. And then she said, okay, well, let's exchange them for a pair of Valentino ones that you were looking at. And I'm like, well, what happened to the rule that you could only exchange them for Chanel?
That wasn't
And
a rule.
then,
That was something she made up.
oh my gosh. So then she went back to get me a pair of Valentino ones and came back and said they didn't have my size. Anyway, it was crazy. And in the end, she goes, oh, well, we don't have your size. So let me go ahead and credit your Neiman's account for the Chanel shoes.
So what you wanted in the first place?
Yes.
All that hassle for nothing.
And then we proceeded to go over to Nordstrom and buy jewelry over there because I refused to buy any jewelry that day at Neiman's. So
They're not as uppity in Nordstrom anyway. And if the Nordstrom has a good buyer, it's like Bloomingdale's where they're not as pretentious, but you get the similar quality, same quality stuff.
absolutely. And great. I mean, I think Neiman's has a little bit higher end things than Nordstrom, But
It
some
does.
of this, yeah, but some of the same designers are there too. And but the return policy, the people are pleasant. The return policy is good. So everybody shop at Nordstrom, shop at Bloomingdale's, forget Neiman's. It's just a
Well,
bunch of
especially
BS.
when like the Bloomingdale's or the Nordstroms in like big city, like the one in the one in Dallas, you know, like the San Diego, then they
Yeah.
usually have a good buyer and they're usually
No, the Fifth Avenue Bloomingdale's in New York,
oh, that's
great
my
buyer.
favorite department store ever.
Yeah, yeah.
That
So
that's
but we
Bloomingdale's.
we did also hit some little shops on the island, and I bought these really cute. I'm going to show you because you haven't seen them yet.
They're
These really
really
cute
cute.
green boots,
They're
and
really
green is in still for fall.
cute.
Um, it was in real big for spring and summer, and I look good in green. Actually, you look good in green. You look better in like a blue green, like a sea green,
Yeah.
seafoam kind of color. I look good in kind of like a more of a, I don't know, army green, I guess you would say.
You know how
And
like
then
people get their colors done? You know what I'm talking about?
yes, their
Yeah.
palettes.
I think that's the biggest racket in the world because people are paying these random women like I
Four
don't know.
hundred dollars.
Oh, like okay, I was gonna say 250. That was cutting it too short.
$400.
$400. You can pay me $400. I'll tell you what colors look good on you.
I'll
I
tell
mean,
you what kind of personality type you are. I'll tell you
yeah,
what
I'll tell you who
colors,
you should date.
what your
I
palette
I could
is.
do the whole thing for $400. The whole life coaching.
Hey, give me lunch and I'll give it all to you.
I do it for free already. So,
Right? We give
but
advice for free all the time.
yeah, no. I well and then like people like I see these TikTok videos, right? And it's
Yeah.
like the woman's like putting a layer over somebody's shoulder and is like, you see how this blue toned red looks on you? And they're like, yeah, they're like, it washes you out. You can't see any definition of your face. Then they put like the orange tone red over and they're like,
Yeah.
look at that. Your eyes brighten up, your lips brighten up. And I'm like, I don't get it. I half the
Yeah.
time I see it, and then the other half I'm like, you're just making shit up as you go
Yeah.
along
No,
and
for sure.
hoping that it sticks and people believe you. It's an impressive business model because I can't believe that people are making money from this.
No,
I
I know.
yeah.
I
Like
agree.
was it that hard to figure out that like I look good in like like bright tones like and
No.
very like distinct like colors like black and pink and red and bright
But
blue,
I also
and
think
you
that
look
you and
good at
I,
earth tones and
yeah.
neutrals and
But I think also you and I are very decisive when it comes to stuff where there's a lot of people that are kind of, they waver on it and they're like unsure of themselves and a little less secure maybe,
yeah.
and don't, or aren't good with colors maybe. I don't know. But
I
I
don't
did
know.
kind
I
of,
just feel like that would be a waste of money. I looked at doing it when it was first popular, and then I saw the pricing, and I go, "There's no way. There's no way I would pay for that." And I
and
like
you,
to splurge. I like
yeah,
to splurge on myself. There's no way. That just seems crazy. Well, and like at the end, they tell you if you look better in gold or silver jewelry, and I'm like, or you could just wear whichever one you like better.
yeah, or you can mix and match
Yeah.
now, so it doesn't really matter as much.
I'm like, I'm
Um,
a gold jewelry person to my core, and I'm like, I wear silver every once in a while, but I'm not changing all my jewelry because some random lady thinks that the silver looks better on me.
Well, I also think that if you had done it as a job, like as a side job, that you would
Yeah.
feel guilty about taking that kind of money for that. So you would be like, "Oh
I
no,
would
don't worry."
I would charge $30 to do the same thing.
Oh, it's $400. Don't worry about it this time.
Yeah, it's free
Yeah.
on the house.
But I did see some like cute fashion trends that are coming in. So I kind of like looked up what's coming in for
Mhm.
fall 2024. And like I said, green is big back again, which I love, and I'm excited about that. Wide leg pants are back in style, and I'm not like a super big fan of that.
I don't mind like a boot cut or a flare jean that has a little bit wider feel to it. Like those Lafayette jeans I have that are kind of like not dark,
Yeah.
dark, but not light. They're like pretty wide leg, but they're not
Mhm.
like so wide. Like some
I
of them I've
know.
seen are like really, really wide. And then have you seen like the balloon pant?
Yes.
I
Those are
hate
so ugly.
I
I
hate
can't
them.
even.
And
I know.
they make everybody look bow-legged, and even on like the skinniest model girl that clothes just fall on completely right. They look awful.
Yeah. You're talking about the capri ones, right? Or are you
No,
talking about no? Okay.
that sounds like a
So
worse image.
so that's even worse. I saw that on a model yesterday and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they were ballooned out and they were
No.
capri pants." For one thing, I can't wrap my brain around capri pants for fall and winter. that doesn't make sense to me. And it was funny, like some of the
Because
things I was
how do you
reading.
wear the thing for fall? If you're gonna
Yeah,
pick a fall and winter outfit, it needs to probably look good with boots. Even if you're not gonna wear it with boots, it needs to
yeah.
feel like it would look okay with boots. You can't wear capris and boots in like almost any way.
No, no, they had them actually featured with like tall knee socks or tights underneath them, and then like flat ballet kind of shoes, which I am not a fan of the
I
ballet
hate
slippers
ballet
anyway.
flats. I
I
know
I
some
don't
people
like
love
ballet
them.
flats. I know, and they look good on some people.
They
They make
do.
me feel like a total dork. So
They look terrible on me, so
yeah,
I can't do
me
it.
too. Me too. The other thing that was coming in was scarf coats and ponchos and capes. Really big this year. Like a lot of the um the capes and stuff that cross over, and I thought that was like,
All
it
right.
was funny because when I read that I was like, oh really? And then I went into the Del Coronado shops.
Because you're imagining like Larry David from Seinfeld with the cape on in New York City. Is
Well,
that
and
why?
I like capes and ponchos and stuff, but I just couldn't think of what they were talking
Picture
about.
it? Yeah.
But then I actually saw an example of it, and I wasn't even going to buy any clothing, but I went into the Dell to look at something in their little kitchen shop, and they had a in those bottom shops, they
Yeah.
had this other shop where we bought stuff in there before, where they had like little sweaters and stuff in there. And I went in there, and they had, that Dolce Cabo
Yeah.
brand that's very popular in California. It's
Yeah.
not very expensive. The price point's really good.
No.
But they had a lot of faux leather dresses in there yesterday. And then they had these capes in different colors that crossed over and kind of tucked in the front, like
Yeah.
crossed in, and a piece of it tucked in a piece of material across. Anyway, they were very cute. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that's what they're talking about. So that
A
was good.
couple
And
other
then,
things that I'm thinking will probably be in style.
yeah,
Because I've already seen some of it, like if this like because people are already trying to make it fall. It's not fall yet, but I've seen like a lot of knee-high boots again with like mini skirts
yeah.
coming back, which I like. I like that look. Taylor Swift kind of had an outfit that was like a really good description of it last year when she like first started dating Travis Kelce. Do you know what picture I'm talking about, Mom?
No,
It
I'll have to look it
came
up.
out. I'll send it to them so they can put it up. But
Okay.
um of her and Travis Kelce holding hands. She's in like a striped sweater, but she's got like a mini skirt with some really tall, like spiky heel boots. Like uh yeah, spiky heel boots, and it looked really cute. And I've seen already people doing that. And then like cherry red was really in last winter. And I think
Yeah.
we're gonna see a lot of that again in the fall. I remember I texted you like last week and told you if you see a red leather jacket that I want a red
I
leather
already
jacket.
sent you one. It's
You
already
did
on
not.
its
You already
way. Yeah,
found
I
one?
did. Yeah, I already
Ah, all
found one. I don't
right.
know. You can try it, and if it's not right, we'll get you a
Okay.
different one, but I saw one.
But also like another thing like the ballet flats that I've seen a lot of people wearing recently that I'm just not a fan of are the Mary Jane kind of style shoes.
Yeah, I don't like
That's
those
not
either.
my vibe.
No.
Some people can pull it off. I can't.
Well, and they come back every, like, I want to say like every, I don't know, 8 years, 7 or 8
Yeah.
years. It seems like they come
And
back,
then
and same
people
with the
hate them
ballet
for like
flats.
5, 6 years and then they start
Yeah,
bringing it right back.
yeah,
And the last thing is kitten heels, like baby heels, but like with the
yes,
one strap and the pointy toe and
yeah. No, I think so too. I think that's all like valid about fall fashion for the season coming up. And then the reds for sure too, because I've
yeah,
seen everything from, they say, oxblood red, which is kind of like a really dark reddish
like
burgundy.
with some black tones in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's supposed to be popular, but I think it's like going to be all different shades and tones of red because
That's kind of how the like cherry, it's like black cherry red is what people are
yeah.
saying. It's not like the fire truck red, but like the darker.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, and I like red. You like red, so those are both good.
Yeah.
So then I guess that's basically it on fashion. I did see like some modern trench coat kind of looks coming in as well, and like
I
the
like that.
faux leather trench coats too
Yeah.
are in. So all different kinds of trenches, I thought. And I like trench coats, so
I
that was a
like a
good one
good
too.
jacket too, a good coat. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so okay, so last episode we talked a little bit, we just kind of touched on business professional versus business casual. And I
yeah.
just wanted to tell you this quick story because I went into the Audi dealership before I left town,
Uh-huh.
and I was standing there waiting for the finance
That to figure
manager.
out the thing for grandma.
Yes, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So I'm waiting for the finance manager to come up, and there was this nice looking, a little bit older, like, maybe late 40s, early 50s, African-American gentleman who was dressed really sharp, by the way, and was very fit. So he was up front and he was talking to me for a second, and then I moved over to wait for the manager. And some guy came in for an interview and he was in jeans. I'm not kidding. Jeans, a polo.
Like dad jeans?
Jeans.
Okay.
They weren't like super dark jeans, but they were jeans. They didn't have any tears in them or anything, but jeans and tennis shoes and a polo. Now, granted, I don't know what job he was also applying for, and that might have made a difference.
Right.
But this black gentleman was so funny. He proceeded to lecture the kid about what you wear to a business interview, to a job interview, and that you
Wait,
need to.
that's so funny.
Oh my gosh. He goes, you would do really well if you go and just pick up one sport coat and do a dark blue sport coat that you can throw on with anything. He said your jeans might have even been passable if you had on a sport coat with it for the interview.
Especially in Texas, where it's like jeans and a jacket, you still look dressed up.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But he was like lecturing him, and this kid was like shell shocked. He was like a deer in the headlights. His eyes were wide open and he's listening to this guy. And the guy was like, don't wear tennis shoes everywhere. Tennis shoes are not dressy enough. You have to, if you're going on a job interview, you invest in a blazer, you invest in a button-down shirt, go get yourself some pants, go get a pair of nice dress shoes.
You can get business casual even now at Lululemon.
Well, and that was funny because the young kid said, well, I guess I better head over to Dillard's. And again, I said, Dillard's, don't go to Dillard's. I was like chimed in and I was like, if anything, if you're looking to, because he said, well, I don't know what I can afford. And I said, well, go over to Nordstrom Rack and get some nice clothes there. I mean, for a fraction of the cost, and they have a huge men's department. So what was funny about it, then this young guy leaves.
He'll never forget that conversation.
He will never make that mistake again.
And it'll be burned in his brain, and he'll probably give the same lecture to somebody else at some point.
You know it. But the funnier thing was right when he left about, I'm still waiting on the finance manager then. And the guy, now a new kid walks up, and I say kid, he was in his, 20s, walked up for an interview. And he was in shorts and tennis shoes. And it looked like kind of like almost like a Hawaiian type shirt. And the black guy just looks at me and blinks.
A Hawaiian shirt?
Oh my gosh.
The Hawaiian shirt is crazy.
Oh my gosh. I laughed so hard.
Especially in Dallas. Like, where are you wearing that?
I don't know. But I did have to laugh because he was in long shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and tennis shoes. So that was funny.
That's well, I mean, like I said, some of the outfits we saw at Syracuse, I was like, you're wearing that to your law school intro thing that's supposed to be business professional? I'm like, that's crazy. But all right.
I know. Your friend Alexandra did text me after our last podcast, and she said my favorite line of the podcast: Google is for everyone.
Google is for everyone. That's because she works at Google and it was free.
I know.
For her. Tell her next time that she's gonna have to we mentioned Google, she's gonna have to get them to pay us.
That's right. We need a fee. We need an advertising fee.
Call her dad up and say, Alex, give us oh
my gosh. Gotta love them. So let's talk about how about if we just do the schools that are banning cell phone use?
Okay. Yeah. So tell me about that, because I didn't read the same article you did.
Yeah. Okay. So California, New York, it says, may soon join Florida, Indiana, Louisiana, South Carolina, and Ohio in passing legislation that bans or restricts cell phone use on public school campuses. Although California law allows districts to restrict the use of cell phones on campus, it doesn't currently require them to do so, but it's heading that way. So there are some states that have banned it, and they're doing those. A lot of them are doing those little pouches that we talked about before, like we got at Bruno Mars concert, like we've gotten at comedy shows where they put your phone in the little pouch and seal it up. And that's like the latest thing. So how do you feel about that?
I personally think that that's a little like banning altogether would be a little extreme. I could see giving districts the option, but also, like, I know for my school, they didn't emphasize the cell phone thing either way. like at all. They didn't emphasize it like as a good thing or a bad thing, which I think works because when you this is like it's a very different concept, but it's how I feel about the transgender bathroom issue is when you just don't make a rule about it all and don't emphasize it, that it doesn't become as big of an issue, you know?
Yeah.
Um so I mean I think that I could see banning cell phones through middle school. None in elementary school and none in
Yeah.
middle school. High
Yeah.
school, that is so unrealistic.
Yeah.
And I think that that's actually counterproductive for people in high school now. So
Well,
that's and
okay.
that's how TCA was. TCA was
Yeah.
lower school. No one had phones because it wasn't because of the timing, right? No
Yeah.
one had phones when we were that young. Well, I did, but I was an exception. And then I
Yeah,
I
but
had
you
a
didn't
flip
have
phone.
it out all the time either
Well, I
when
didn't
you were
bring
little.
school either when you're
No, no.
8, but
Yeah.
no phones in elementary school makes sense to me because they're little kids and you get distracted easily, and
Hmm.
that's just only going to bring bad things like you said, bullying and all that. Middle school, no phones at school, but like my middle school allowed you to bring your phone, but you couldn't use it during the day and it had to be in your locker.
Hmm.
And it obviously if you got caught with it, you'd be in trouble. But like
Yeah.
that way you had your phone at the end of the day, get your parent pick you up, and if you're at
Yeah.
sports after school and that kind of stuff to coordinate. And in high school,
Yeah.
phone charts in each of the classroom, and some teachers used them, but most didn't by the time you were a senior. I mean, that was mainly a
Hmm.
freshman, sophomore thing. You put your phone on your number in the classroom during
Hmm.
class, and you pick it up during the passing period.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of with you on some of that. I mean, I don't think that they should have phones. I don't think kids should have access to phones throughout school until maybe your junior and senior years. I think because a lot of kids also do like half days and go, they don't have to go a full day a lot of times when they're a senior or they have athletics or they have work or whatever, work programs and all that stuff. So I think that it would be good to limit it. And I like the little pouch idea. Some parents are complaining because they said then they can't reach their kids, but I think a lot of parents too are very needy and they would be texting them like, what do you want for dinner? You know,
Right.
or what are you doing right after school? Or what are you doing with your friends this weekend? And instead, let them call the office if it's an emergency, to
Yeah.
get in touch with their kid.
Well,
But
I don't see the the locking the phones working past 8th grade.
yeah, probably not. I could kind of see ninth and 10th too.
They
But
won't
that's
do it
just
for
me.
9th and
But
10th.
that's just me.
And especially because that's how people socialize now, and everybody
Yeah.
has such different schedules now because
Yeah.
with sports and with extracurriculars, and I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. I think once you're in 9th grade, then it's up to the teachers to or the school district itself to say we're doing phone charts if teachers want to
Yeah.
utilize them, that they have full power to do so, kind of thing. And if not, if they
Yeah.
see your phone, they can confiscate your phone.
Yeah, I think part of it is that teachers are afraid, especially in public schools, if the policy isn't that to deter that.
Yeah.
And I think if you give them the power to do that, if it's an issue, that they should be able to take it up and they should be able to confiscate it. You know,
Well, and that's I have a lot of complaints with TCA over the years, like especially looking back on it. But I never thought my phone was a distraction for me during school, and I don't think really anybody did.
yeah.
Because of the way they handled it.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's handled that way in a lot of public schools compared to
No, it's
private. I
not.
think, yeah. So I think you also get a lot more distractions in the public schools with phones. I think you get the cyberbullying, people scrolling their Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and I just think that needs to be limited
Well, the
somewhat.
cyberbullying is going to happen regardless of whether the phone's at school
That's
or not.
true. That's true. But it
So,
also, like, if it's happening during school and somebody's texting somebody else, like in their classroom, it puts a lot of pressure on some of the kids that are in that situation. They're more vulnerable, and I just think, I think it's more focused learning when you're not distracted. Similar to how I said Bruno Mars was the concert. He started off by saying, "Hey, I
yeah.
confiscated your phones, and I want you to enjoy the moment." and I want
Yeah.
you to be here present and sing and dance and have fun. Well, the same thing kind of goes for school. They want them to be focused on, reading, writing, arithmetic, whatever, and not be, looking at TikTok.
Well, I'd rather them give the teachers power to do that than this government doing it.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
So,
I'm okay with that. I think I'd be good with
because
that.
if you just protect teachers from the fact that they're not going to get accused of stealing kids' phones, which is like I've seen that, and I think that's crazy. Is like when
Yeah.
the teachers confiscate a phone and the kid's like, "You're stealing my property." No, that's not how that works in a public school. You protect teachers' jobs
Mm-hmm.
in that context, and they won't be scared to take people's phones, and then people will
Yeah.
be scared to use their phone during class.
I think a lot of public teachers are afraid to do a lot of things. So yesterday, talking about California too and other changes, yesterday I heard that Assembly Bill 1840 would allow undocumented immigrants to apply for the California Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program. And it offers no interest loans for up to $150,000 for home down payments. These loans they will not be charged interest, and they will not require them to make monthly payments. So in other words, they're giving them $150,000.
Can you, as a California legal citizen, apply for that same type of loan?
You can, but then it includes all the migrants as well. So to me, what bothers me the most about this is I see the homeless situation here firsthand. I'm looking at it not only in San Diego, but I'm fixing to go to LA in a couple of days, which I know it's even worse there. So to me, you have poor Americans that don't have housing. You have veterans who have served our country and made sacrifices for us, and they're living on the streets, or they can't afford housing. You have young couples that are working their tails off and want to provide for their families and want to buy a first home and may not get that loan because a migrant gets that loan.
Yeah.
So I just think that's so screwy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why California hasn't like specifically invested into building housing for homeless people. I know Rick Caruso did in LA with some of his own like private funds and private property.
Right.
Built like it's right by kind of where Alexandra lives. It's like tiny little homes.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like a trend too, like to build the tiny homes for them and like a community.
I think that that's great. I think that's great because it gives people not only like obviously like free access to a safe place to live, but the feeling of like responsibility to that house. So
and the feeling of community.
Yeah,
because
when you feel responsible
groups.
for your home and for your place, you feel responsible for the community it's in,
Yeah.
So I think that that's the best way to handle that, but the undocumented immigrant thing is tough because like California is so forgiving about that, and a lot of times they give people that or they give undocumented immigrants things that they don't give to California citizens.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't have as big of a problem with it when the same thing's offered to legal residents of California.
Yeah. But still, let's say they only have
yeah, it's a scarcity
just a random thing. Yeah. Let's say they have 200 loans to give out.
Right.
And these people are U.S. citizens, and they get beat out by somebody who's not even a citizen of our country, who's not paying taxes, who didn't go through legal immigration, who just crossed the border, and they're getting those loans. It's kind of like a scholarship. When scholarships are given out, you have all these people who work their butts off in high school and to get a college scholarship, and then a scholarship's given because of DEI instead of who deserves the scholarship. And I'm not a fan of that at all.
Yeah. I'm not either. I mean, if it was just evaluated on like if the status didn't have anything to do with who got the loan,
right? Yeah.
Then I don't really have as big of a problem with it. But I don't think it's right to do a lot of things that encourage illegal immigration. And I think that would encourage
It
illegal.
definitely does. And
Oh,
that's what some of the criticism of the bill is, obviously,
right.
is that encourages people then to flood over here, which they're already doing, and even more
And the
so.
last thing California needs is an influx of more illegal immigrants and
Right.
more
So
people to take care of.
so San Diego is having a huge problem all of a sudden with the borders over the last couple months.
It's closer than you
And
think.
yeah.
Border's closer than you think in San Diego.
No,
Like,
no, I know. I've been
you
to the
like,
border over there
yeah.
by Tecate when I went to that health spa there
Oh yeah.
years ago, a couple times. And it's actually pretty close. But so Oregon, just to let you know, Oregon has a similar bill that was passed, or that's like on the desk of the, I think, the governor to sign.
Yeah.
But that specifically says only for undocumented immigrants.
No, see, I don't like that.
If you're an American citizen, you need not apply.
Yeah, and I don't particularly like that.
That's crazy.
I think giving a perk and a privilege of citizenship to somebody that's a non-citizen is an issue. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that if you live in a state, then you're obligated to pay into that state, and then you can receive the benefits of living in that state. So
Yes. So
um,
I think that the
Oregon's crazy though.
Oregon is crazy, and I think California and Arizona and some other states are having problems with more migrants coming now because Texas pretty much shut
Yeah,
down.
shut it down. Yeah.
Yeah, what was happening there. So thank God for Governor Abbott, but now it's a problem for other states. So
Well,
Kamala Harris, is from California.
I was
And
just about to bring up the interview. Yeah.
yes, she finally gave her first interview since becoming the presumptive and now the confirmed Democratic nominee. So she went 39 days without an interview, which is a crazy amount of time.
Also, Dana Bash had to ask her like 4 questions before she even said one actual policy point, which was the 6,000 a month or 6,000 in the first year when you have a newborn, the
Yeah,
tax
child
credit.
credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but like we've already heard that one. Give us
Yeah.
something else. I don't know.
Well, okay,
I
so
thought a whole Go ahead.
she got questions ahead of time, which I
Oh,
don't like.
That's
So
also, you're not supposed to do that. Like, that's
right,
the first thing they teach you in journalism school is that when people ask for your questions, you say, I will happily give you the topics we're going to talk about, but I can't give you the
right.
specific questions.
Exactly. But the questions were provided to Kamala Harris. She had Tim Walz sitting next to her for
That's
support.
what I was going to say is how bizarre was that? Was all
Yeah.
three of them sitting at the table. He spoke once, and
Yeah.
it was when Dana asked him a question because it was almost like, oh my God, he's here, so I might as well be like, oh, and you too. And
Yeah.
it was about what are you gonna do on the like first 100 days, which or not on the first day. What are you gonna do on the first day in office? And then she asked Kamala Harris, she had to ask her like 3 times so she'd actually say something substantive. And then by then she goes, oh, and what about you to Tim Walz? Like he has no control over what happens on the first day, just like Kamala didn't on Joe Biden's first day. I
Right.
don't know. It looked stupid having him sit there. It should have
Well,
just been her.
I just think as a woman, if I were going to be possibly the first female US president in history,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would need a man sitting next to me
No.
for support on an interview. I'd be able to talk, and I wouldn't have to have it taped, and I wouldn't need the questions in advance. I mean, you would hope that the person can think on their feet, that they can answer policy questions, that they can do that on their own, and that it doesn't have to be taped and edited, which this clearly was. And it was only a 16-minute total interview, I think, with the editing. She talked for 3 minutes on, I think, on the economy, and maybe 2.5 minutes on immigration. Didn't even address the crime.
No. In fact, I think if I were her, I would have scheduled a primetime interview on CNN,
Mm-hmm.
a 30
Live.
minute long live primetime interview on CNN. And then I would have had Tim Walz go on Fox, MSNBC, CNN, ABC for the next 3 days and get interviewed by everybody there while I was doing a
Absolutely.
town hall interview or something like that. so
Right.
that you feel like you get the questions from the journalists first. So you
Hmm.
lay out your plan with it
Yes.
with the journalist, and then you take questions from in a town hall setting from voters in some of the
Yeah.
swing states, and you let your running mate do what they're supposed to do, which is talk up your policies and talk you up to people that might be outside of your target.
Right. That might be on the fence.
Yeah.
That's what you do. So I agree. I mean, I think that this was it was weird to
It
me.
was so weird
Um,
using Tim Walz's word. It was bizarre.
yeah, and it did not look presidential either. I would have looked like very
Also,
presidential when I was speaking. And
this is
go
a
ahead.
point to add on to your like as a woman. Why was her like she was? I get she's shorter. I understand she's shorter than Tim Waltz and probably shorter than Dana Bash. She was sitting so much lower at that table than either of
Yep,
those people. I would have said, "Someone get me a booster seat, or I'm standing up."
absolutely. Give me a stack of books to sit
Yeah,
on,
or I'm gonna
where
stand.
it doesn't
We're gonna
show.
stand.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I kind of mean about not looking presidential. I think that she looked kind of slumped over, and she looked really tiny, and she was
Yeah,
being, walled in by the other two people,
lighting
and
was weird, and
lighting was weird. They had the bus kind of like
the
I don't
bus.
know, like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was blurred out in the background, her tour bus or
yeah.
something, and it just didn't look right.
Well, I credit Dana Bash because I've the past two times I've seen her interview was the debate and this time, and
She
I
did
thought
great in the debate.
I thought she interviewed Kamala all right too, because I thought she asked Kamala didn't answer a lot of her questions, but I thought
Right,
she asked the right questions,
right.
which
No,
is
I
like
think so too.
you said you were going to ban fracking. You said this in 2014. You said this in 2019. So what made you change your mind? And
Yeah,
Kamala was like, "Oh, I changed my mind in 2020." She was like, "Yeah, but like, why? Did you see new science that said fracking was all right? Did you see like,
yeah.
did your morals change? Like, what changed?" And I thought she did a good job of like grilling her a little bit. But did you see it when she asked about like Trump's comment about how she like switches her race to be politically advantageous?
No, I
And
didn't see
um,
that part.
and she asked Kamala that, and Kamala goes, "Oh, his same old thing," or something like that. And she was like, "Next question."
Oh
And
my gosh, because
Anna
she
goes,
didn't know how to answer it.
"No." I'm like, "How
No,
are you not prepared for that?" She goes,
no.
"That's it."
Well,
And
she
Kamala goes,
also she
"Yep,
also said multiple times during the interview, how her values have not changed. And then she was like, "Yeah, but your policies have. So tell me what changed your policy." And she's like, "No, but my values haven't changed."
that's like the
Like,
one talking point they gave her." And instead of like elaborating on that and explaining what it means, she just repeated it a bunch of times.
well, what did I say before? The reason she explains stuff in like layman's terms is because that's how somebody else explained it to her, and she's
Right.
not smart enough to then take that information in and learn it. She has to regurgitate that to people in the
I
same
used
fashion because she's not smart.
I used that point of yours, mom, on the radio the other day. I was like, it sounds
Oh,
like somebody explained it to her, and then she's like relaying the information.
that's
And
exactly it.
yeah,
They explain it to her like she's a 5-year-old, and she
right.
turns around and explains it the same way.
The worst was big country hates little country when she was talking about Russia and Ukraine.
Oh my gosh. No, there's so many the Venn diagram clip
I
and
like the Venn diagram one.
oh my gosh.
She has a fascination with them. I think it's funny.
The buzz. That's because she didn't know what they were before somebody explained what they were.
Oh
She
my god.
also
I do
has,
have to say the whatever Gen Zer is running her TikTok account is
yeah,
doing a great job. It is hilarious.
really? Okay.
Oh, and if I were Trump's team, I would go, "We're hiring a 19-year-old to run this entire thing
Yeah.
because they understand like the TikTok trends and stuff and are gonna make it funny." Like
Well, since
Kamala's is funny, but she has no substance to back it up. But if and
right.
Trump's already funny as a person.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
he had that like extra oomph, that would be good.
Well, send his campaign a message. Maybe they'll listen
But
to
tell him
you.
I should do it.
Yeah. So she also has like this girl prepping her, this woman prepping her for the upcoming debate on September
Yeah.
10th. And it's Karen Dunn, who
What did
is,
they say? They're standing, mics off, and no notes, I think.
well, thank God she wanted notes. And I'm like, you have to be able to think on your feet. That's the whole
Right.
purpose of the debate, you know?
Well, and like it's not really that much information if you think about it.
It's really not.
It's 90 minutes, but it's really 45 minutes.
Well,
And
and
then
we
you're
said,
only talking half the time. You're talking for 20 minutes.
when we said, what do your people do? They should give you 8 strong talking points or 6 strong talking points, and you keep coming back to those. They're your
About
best
each of the
talking
big
points.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, about the big issues. And then you're fine. You're golden. But she has this Karen, what did I say her name was? Karen
Oh,
Dunn.
yeah.
Yeah. And Karen Dunn this is kind of funny. Karen Dunn is also she works for Google. So she's the attorney for Google, and she helped her prep too for the vice presidential debate. So it's not like something new that she's doing, you know?
So did this woman write the line, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking?
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. But she also is the lead attorney in the U.S. versus Google lawsuit that's currently
Oh, that's
currently
funny. Like,
yeah.
is it a antitrust lawsuit? Like a
Yes.
monopoly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the trial is set to begin September 9th, and the debate is September 10th.
Oh.
And they're like,
Well,
how is that not a conflict of interest?
This woman doesn't have time to prep Kamala for the debate.
No, I know.
A huge. If I were Google, I'd fire her. I go, what do you mean?
She's the lead attorney for them.
Yeah,
she's doing that.
If I were the CEO of Google, I'd fire her and go, no.
Yeah.
You're clearly your focus is not where it should be, which is in the biggest case of Google's existence.
Yes.
As the lead attorney, lead counsel.
Yeah, and it's just kind of funny also that she has somebody from such a big company that she's like against. I don't know. It just that she's having them prep her, and she doesn't find that that's a conflict. I guess this person also helped out Obama, so it's an Obama person.
Okay.
And I'm sure she's very, very good at what she does. I just think it's. Oh, did you see that?
Yeah. What did you do?
I don't know what I did. Isn't that weird?
Something.
I've never seen that before.
Something.
I didn't touch the computer.
Oh.
How weird. Did you? Nice balloons in my background. I don't know. For those watching on video, that was pretty funny. Anyway, let's I wanted to mention too that that the Democrat Party, so Kamala, is kind of flip-flopped on some of the issues, obviously. And one of them lately is the border wall, which is so funny to me. That now she's saying build the wall after she was totally against it. But the Democrat Party is now claiming that they're the party of Reagan. And I'm like, you can't both be the party of Reagan. And I know that chafes you because of your experience at the Ronald Reagan Institute and Foundation.
It bothered me when Biden was quoting Reagan and in any speech, because after the Afghanistan withdrawal, that was anything but peace through strength, which is all Reagan preached. And I'm like, there are certain things about the Biden administration that are more Reagatonian in terms of foreign policy, I guess. But this economic structure that we have going on, Ronald Reagan would be rolling over in his grave knowing that they think
I was just going to say that. Not only that, but he was so against big government. And so much of the Biden-Harris ticket is about that, or now the Harris-Walz ticket is going to be about that.
Well, and if I was on the Democratic political consulting team and somebody was trying to come up with a strategy for how to defend that, what I would say is if Ronald Reagan were alive today, he would believe in small government. And right now, the Republicans on the abortion issue are the big government, pro big government, and we are the pro small government with the abortion legislation.
Yes.
But they're not going to say that. They're going to say their economy's working better.
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny to me how all of a sudden that's the claim. And like you said, Biden was like spitting out these Reaganisms during his speech and everything. God. And I know both sides do that.
They do. Like we quote FDR, like we crisscross a lot, but the amount of times that like the specific age of Democrats have been basically shitting on Ronald Reagan policies, like for them to claim that is crazy.
I know. So Nancy Pelosi even said that that Biden should be added to Mount Rushmore, which I went, ha! So I thought, and my mom made a good point because she heard that same thing when she was watching Fox News one day, and she said, "Oh my gosh, if anybody, they should add Reagan." And I said, absolutely, 100%.
Reagan kept us out of World War III.
Yeah. And look at how many people quote him since then and
Oh
use
yeah.
his policies to shape everything. So,
Well, and look at his overwhelming re-election majority. That's
yeah.
yeah.
So, the new Reagan movie just came out. I don't know
Is
if you
it
knew
Dennis
that.
Quaid?
It's Dennis Quaid, and one of my favorites, John Boyd, is in it as well.
Okay.
So we'll have to see that and kind of give our take on that. But I I see some initial reviews coming out that are good.
If I was in DC, I'd make my friends from Reagan go with me as a field trip.
Oh, that would be good.
I'd require everybody to wear our Reagan merch too. I told somebody that the other day here. I go, I have so much Ronald Reagan merch, it looks odd because
Yeah.
I keep getting it for free. And so then I have
Yes.
like head to toe Ronald Reagan merch,
Yeah.
which looks
I
a
was gonna
little
say you're
obsessive.
decked out.
Yeah, it looks a little obsessive.
Um, so let's move on from politics real. Oh wait, I got one more funny thing to tell you because I don't think you saw this. This was kind of in a weird off uh interview, but Trump actually said just recently at a rally, just I think it was yesterday or day before. He said the federal government will mandate under him insurance companies to cover all related costs to intro
IVF.
veto
Yeah, I saw
fertilization
that.
treatments. And I think that's good.
It is good.
And then, but his comment, this is what I thought was so funny, and I know you'll find funny. He said,
What did he say?
because
What did he
we
do to
want
ruin it?
what?
What did he do to ruin it?
No, he didn't ruin it. I just thought it was
Okay.
hilarious. He said, because we want more babies, to put it very nicely. I just love him.
Oh my,
Because we want more babies, to put it very nicely.
oh my
So,
God.
yeah.
Well, good.
Um,
That's a point that they were trying to attack him on. So that's good
yeah,
that he confirmed that.
yeah. So moving on from politics real quick, because I know we're almost out of time.
We are, yeah.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb, they and Jerry Jones finally, the
Thank
stalemate came to an
God.
end. Yeah.
Thank God. What is he now? The second highest paid
Yes,
non QB.
correct. It's 4
And
years, $136 million contract extension.
Jesus. Well, so the guy that is the first like highest paid non QB is also with the same manager. That's what we
Yes.
talked about last time. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you better have a football player when you have a baby someday, because we're obviously
they're
in the wrong business.
required to play football until like
Yes.
I've always said that I'm requiring my boys to play football until 8th grade, and then if they hate it after 8th grade, they don't have to play. But that way they have the option to play in high school if they want to play in high school.
There you go. At least you set them up for success if they decide to.
My friends are always like, but what if they don't want to play football? I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
they'll be okay. They'll be
They're
glad that I did that for them.
they're probably going to grow up in Texas, and in Texas, Friday
Right.
night lights, you play football.
Yeah, you play football.
Yeah. So I guess that's pretty much it. Dak Prescott is on track to becoming the biggest free agent since Reggie White. So he's got 1 year left on his contract. So
Didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I
His
remember
contract
when I
ends.
learned about his contract was back in junior year of college. That was a while ago now.
Well, and knowing Jerry Jones and what he just did with CeeDee Lamb, which the timing on that was so ridiculous because what it did was it pushed him too forward into training camp. And so he missed all of training camp and preseason and now has to play. I mean, sure, he's probably been working out to catch up, but it's not the same as practicing with your teammates.
Why Jerry Jones was acting like I get like having a monetary dispute. That's a little different. Like, sure, you're arguing about money, but acting like we didn't need CeeDee Lamb.
No, I know.
One of the best wide receivers in the entire NFL, clearly, because he just got the contract to prove it. But
yeah,
I don't know why he was acting like we didn't need, especially now that Amari Cooper's gone. Like, I don't know why he thought we didn't need him.
Yeah. Well, I just think the timing was ridiculous. And I'm not sure who set the timing, if that was Jerry Jones and the Cowboys or if that was CeeDee Lamb. But most contracts like that happen to where they can be resolved right before training camp or at least halfway through training camp so that you get some practice time.
Right.
So I'm just glad it's over. I'm glad we're keeping him. I love him. He's a great player.
He wants to be in Dallas too. That's a good
thing. Absolutely. So we'll see what happens with Dak, but my guess is that Jerry Jones will wait to the last minute with that one too.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah.
And then he'll end up paying big bucks for him like he did.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Right.
All
I
right.
think that's all we have for today.
I think so.
Yeah. So we're gonna check out from the West Coast. I know you're on East Coast. And
Yep.
yeah, so next time we're gonna be changing our name from the Casual Critics to the Baker Take. And that will take effect next episode, which will be episode 11. And right now you guys can follow us on well, we don't have our Instagram up yet. You're going to be doing that soon, I hope.
Yep.
But you can watch us on YouTube if you want to see video. You can follow us and listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and a number of other podcast platforms. And that's all for we've got today. Thanks for joining us. Do you have anything else to say, P?
Nope. That's
Okay.
that's the episode.
Okay, this has been the Baker Take. Thank you.